First story. Has wife of 20 years been cheating the entire time? I have many accounts of my wife potentially cheating, and also evidence that demonstrates she has most definitely been cheating. I always thought that she was loyal and had eyes for only me, kind of vibe. I had even been asked by some of her friends, when alone with them, if I would ever cheat on her. My answer always was no, never. And I have remained faithful. FK knows why. Maybe I don't want the hassle. Anyway, the first time I came across her cheating was by pure accident. I had lost my phone, and her work provided her with a new phone annually. She said just grab one of my old phones, charge it up and use it. I did just that. Once charged, I opened it as you do and began getting familiar with the phone. Her mailbox was still full of messages, and there were messages from someone I thought was a friend of mine. The messages back and forth were of a sexual nature, with messages scheduling meets at hotels in other towns and cities that she would travel to for work. There were also pictures. I was so FK and angry about this, and also the fact that I was so blind to it. Despite on occasion noticing subtle things when we all met or were at an event together. Of course she denied everything when confronted. And then her story changed time and time again until she admitted to only kissing. Her story of excuses included going back to when her father died a month before our wedding, and post our wedding and honeymoon, and seemingly moving on with life. She was depressed. Now, when her father died, and post his tangy, I did everything a man should naturally do for the women he loved. I was there for her always and for everything. I loved her, cared for her and more. But she sought solace and comfort in the arms and bed of someone else, and had the audacity to blame me for it. You have to remember that when she gave me the phone, it was about 4 years after we married, as our child was not quite 1 year old. Anyway, to add salt to the wound, she became pregnant early on in our marriage, which I was stoked about. But because of her job and professional career, she did not want a baby at that time in her life, as it would destroy her professional career prospects. I reluctantly went along with it, as there would be future opportunity to grow a family. We went through with the abortion, and over time I came to terms with it. However, I now believe she wanted an abortion because she knew the baby was not mine, but his. I will never know for sure, other than having that sixth sense feeling you get when the universe is not aligned. More true stories to follow, but I have realized that my wife is a narcissist with addiction issues, which she will never address or seek help for because I am the problem. I only remain married to ensure the safety and well-being of my children. Signed, Royally Fucked. Second story. My 25M GF 25F was completely in love with me, and even wanted to marry me, and for me it was my first serious relationship, so I wanted to take it slow. This led us to have many arguments. I know we loved each other, but we both got angry, and it was very difficult to communicate. After a year of relationship, she concluded by herself that I didn't love her. She said I didn't make her feel special and broke up with me all of a sudden, me not knowing that she was already dating someone from her work, and they had even kissed. It hurt me a lot, and I kept looking for her to forgive me while she continued dating her co-worker, and to me she said she loved me, but didn't want to be with me. Time passed and we decided to get back together. However, she continued to see this guy without me noticing. She said she wanted to be with me, but it was hard for her to end any relationship with this other person, because she didn't know if I was telling her the truth, and if I really loved her. Also, she felt guilt and embarrassed for that because everyone at her work knew and were friends of the guy. Eventually, she cut off the relationship she had with this guy, and she quit her job to be with me again, but little by little I was finding out about her cheating, and the little lies she made. I asked her to confess everything to me, and in the end she did. She told me that she met him a week before breaking up with me. That she wanted to have a casual relationship without commitment to forget the damage that I had done to her. That she only used him to forget because she was very vulnerable, and the guy took advantage of that since he was the one who proposed everything. She says she is very ashamed and that is why she hid so many things from me. She deeply regrets and now wants to make amends, and it causes her pain to know that she hurt me. The problem is that I feel like a second choice. Knowing all this, I can't help but compare myself to this guy. It's been 6 months and thoughts of betrayal assail me. She confessed to me that he had sex only once and that she didn't feel anything for him. But it's something I find hard to believe and it makes me feel angry, sad and very jealous. Sometimes she makes me feel guilty for not loving her the way she wanted me to. We have tried to talk a lot and we have good times in which everything seems to improve. Even many things within the relationship improved, especially communication, but suddenly I feel jealous, and I find it hard to trust her in simple things. We are at a point where we do not know how to approach the situation, and if it is worth it. She is afraid that I will do something for revenge, and I am worried that she will lie to me again. I think it is hard for me to forgive her, and I do not know how to do it. What do you think? How do I know if I can trust her? How can I start a forgiveness process? I have evaluated taking some time out of the relationship, but I feel that it would distance us. 1 year update. It's been 2 years since my M26 X26 was unfaithful and I still feel humiliated and inadequate. Hi, just as the title says, for more context, it's been a year since fortunately the relationship ended. After many reproaches, cheating and other betrayals for mental health, I had the courage to end it as she was a person with narcissistic behaviors and I someone dependent. Still to this day I still feel inadequate, humiliated and I have even severely questioned my masculinity. I often get flashbacks and it's like reliving it all over again. I have tried many things, therapy, changed my physique, finished my studies, learned new hobbies and even tried to connect with new people, but still, it feels like I am the mockery, the guy who got cheated on. I think there is a lot of talk about when you find out about your partner's infidelity, but what about the aftermath? Has anyone come out of it? I would love to hear stories of overcoming. I guess I would feel better. Thanks for reading. Third story. Am I overreacting? My GF cheated on me and still wants to be friends. My GF moved to a different state at the beginning of this year. She's divorced and we have been on and off for over a year now. She moved back home to be with her family, but the only problem was that her ex-husband lives just around the corner from where she lives. I was fine with it and wasn't worried about it because I trusted her. The only thing was that she clearly wasn't over him. She still loves him, I know because she told me, and is constantly trying to hang out with him. Her ex is dating someone and they are on and off. He never answers my GF's calls or texts whenever they are dating. One day my GF went to hang out with one of her friends, and so I let her enjoy the day hanging out by not texting her, and I was just doing my own things at home. At this point her ex and his GF were broken up. My GF hasn't texted or called me all day, which is weird, because she calls me anytime she's driving. I didn't think anything of it. All I get later that night is a made-at-home text. A week passes and we're on the phone. She says, "Hey, I need to tell you something." My heart immediately dropped because of what's happened in my past relationships, and that's never a good thing to hear. So I ask her what's going on and she tells me that she slept with her ex. I was absolutely shattered. I asked her when and she said after she hung out with her friend. She told me she did it out of anger because of her ex and his GF being together. She also said she did it to get her jealous. I told her these reasons of doing it wasn't healthy and it's not okay. I was done, so I told her I'd talk to her later. This isn't the first time she's done it either. When she lived in the same city I do, her ex came to visit her, and it was her intention to sleep with him, because she said she needed to find out whether she loved him still or not. At the time we were talking and doing couple things like dates and stuff, but weren't officially dating, but it still hurt me because throughout it all, I have been faithful to her and only her. Fast forward to now. She told me we should just be friends because she misses having someone there to hold and talk to in person. I told her I understood what she was saying, but I was dealing with the same thing. She said the distance between us is hard and that she was going to start dating. I was saving up and waiting for my lease to end so I could move with her. On top of that, I'm a huge family-oriented guy, and me being away from my family takes a lot from me, but I was willing to make that commitment for us. I told her that I didn't know if I could still be her friend if she started dating, because I don't know if I would be able to see the woman that I love, loving someone else. Not for a while anyway. She asked me to please think about it because she is sad to think of us not talking anymore due to her dating. Am I overreacting? Should I just accept it? I don't know what to do. Any advice would help. Update. This is an update to my post yesterday. I did it. I blocked her and removed anything associated with her on my phone. I read everyone's comments and I want to say thank you to all of you. I was definitely blinded and wasn't seeing the bad in it all, or maybe just didn't want to believe it, or both. In my heart, I always believed there was the slightest chance for us, but I can't do that to myself anymore. It was exhausting. I'm going to be focusing on myself now and finding my happiness again. Now on to bigger things. Thank you everyone. Fourth story. WP contacted AP but not in the way you think. Need help? I share an account with WP. If previous post history doesn't line up, it's because my GF and I share social medias for obvious reasons. I have been in a relationship with my WP for 4 years. We used to live together but going through trial separation while we work things out. WP had a brief EA in April that was strictly online. I found out after WP left her phone open on the DMs. WP and AP never met up. He was from an entirely different country. Upon D-Day, WP broke up with me saying she couldn't really hurt me anymore. She texted me a really lengthy apology, saying it wasn't my fault, that I was absolutely perfect, and that she was really messed up, that she wants me to heal, that she wants me to please find my peace, that it wasn't because she didn't love me, it's because she didn't love herself, that she was sorry for bringing me down with her and having shitty coping mechanisms, that if I wanted to try again she would run back to me in a heartbeat. We went 1 month NC and have since been together again. D-Day was around 4 months ago. It was hard for the both of us. WP tried killing herself 2 months after and she ended up at the mental hospital. That is where she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, something she thought was just seasonal depression. Apparently during the time she cheated on me she was manic. We see each other on a weekly basis and go out on dates every other week to keep our fire alive. WP has really shown up going to therapy and managing her bipolar. She is always the one to bring up the affair and apologizes to me nearly daily for hurting me. She checks in with me and says, "How are you feeling about what happened? Is there anything I can do to help ease your mind? Anything at all that'll help you?" She writes me love poems and letters nearly every day. She has always been like this, and it isn't some sort of love-bombing. She just recently wrote me a poem about how I shine above the rest, basically saying that I'm more special to her than anyone else. She writes poems about how in trying to heal herself, she broke me. She has cried about the betrayal more than I have at this point. I visited her home and it's been a wreck. She hasn't even taken care of herself. This is not at all like her. She has really gone off the deep end. Every time we meet up she starts crying and tells me how much she misses me and wishes she could go back in time and get the help she needed before it was too late. I found out a few days ago that my WP contacted her AP. AP has been obsessed with her since she blocked him. He would message her on all sorts of platforms, make new accounts to talk to her, get his friends to try and contact her. WP has kept AP blocked since D-Day, on every platform possible. I saw the messages. It was basically her telling AP to leave her alone, that she needs him to stop trying to contact her and to stay out of her life. She told him she didn't hate him, but he needs to stop getting in the way of her relationship with me. She told AP how in love with me she is and that nothing they ever had was real. AP replied to her saying he wishes she didn't block him. She told him to get a life and to stop being obsessed with her, that they only knew each other for a week and that she lied to him the entire time about her feelings because she felt bad for him. AP was blocked again. I don't know whether to be hurt or to be glad that my WP took initiative to tell him to stop contacting her. I have access to her Discord, where the affair happened. She told me that she talked to AP again and to please look at the messages on what was sent. Would that be honored? We live in the USA and her AP is in New Zealand. Fifth story. Finding out my GF27 actually had sex with someone while we were on break from each other after years of asking. Today I got told that my GF of 8+ years actually had sex with someone during our week-long break after she found out I had cheated on her years ago with another female. We were in high school when I was messing around with another girl, not that it justifies anything. We were in college when she was told or found out, then broke up with me, only to get back with me less than a week later after I'd had apologized. We get back together and most of my time is spent trying to make things right sexually and mentally. She cried the first time we had sex after getting back together, but I thought nothing of it at the time, like maybe she was feeling sad or upset at what I had done, so I thought nothing too crazy about it. Years go by and I've had this itch in the back of my head that I might have overlooked that situation with her crying, and the crazy thing about it, I had a feeling of who she'd do something with if it was true of what I was thinking. There were no signs of her cheating before we broke up, but there was a guy she was talking to before we started dating, but I found some messages between them two while we were in college. Anyways, years go by, and through the years, I'm asking her numerous times, you sure you and old boy didn't do anything before at all? Multiple times I get the response of no, never, or even puts it on God that nothing ever happened. I told the guy that I was suspecting something out of, that I need to have a chat with him. Long story short, he told me that they had sexual relations once after high school, but I don't think I believe that. I feel like I'm being played with and just would like to know the entire truth. I've been trying to make things right, then all along she got her get back. Yes, I know what I did was wrong, but I'm pretty sure I've paid enough for my actions. What would you do, fellas? Sixth story. Pain of cheating never goes away. Long story that I will try and keep short. This to answer some questions that I have seen here on Reddit. When I was in high school, this girl walks into my class, and right away I feel in love. Like in the movies, time stood still for a few seconds. It has been over 30 years now, and I remember every inch of her from those few seconds. Anyway, I was freshman, so was she, and everyone knows how hard it is to date a girl when you're a freshman. That day she sat right front of me and we introduced ourselves. Later on in that class she held my hand. After class we decided to share a locker. We didn't date that year, but she sure dated a lot of guys. Midway through that year her father sent her away to a different state to live with her mother. Next year she came back and our friendship was still there. We started to date that year. We dated for 2 years. I was so in love with her. She taught me a little about sex and life itself. She always told me how much she loved me. She carved my name and arm to show how much she loved me, which was crazy. Turns out the whole 2 years she was cheating on me with ex-boyfriends, new guys, and really just about anyone she found attractive. Finally, with a friend of mine, that's when she got caught. He and were arguing over something. He just flat out said he was sleeping with her. She put her head down in her hands. I immediately knew it was true. We broke up, got back together because I was in love and stupidity just could give her up. Then she really started cheating over and over again. Turns out after we broke up for good she had slept with at least 10, if not more, even having a threesome with 2 guys. I was crushed. Anyway, a few years later, I found my soon-to-be wife, and for next 30 years, I was as happy as I could be. My wife was amazing. But to the point of the story, I never got over her. I always still loved her and never got over the pain she caused. For 30 years I thought about the cheating at least once a day. I have moved on with life, yes, but never have I gotten over the betrayal and pain of everything she did to me. My wife died. Somehow she and I started talking again. I was able to let her know everything I knew about. Somehow I feel better about it all now. But to answer a question on here about do you ever get over cheating? The answer, at least for me, is no, absolutely not, at least for me. I still love her and hate her all at the same time. Pain has never gone away.